Welcome to the Bull, the Bear, and the Ugly podcast, your no-nonsense guide to the markets. Whether you're watching us live at sktrading.live or listening on your favorite podcast platform, we've got you covered. Subscribe, join the community, and get ready to dive into real talk and real market insights. Let's get started.
Hi everyone, I'm Stephen Kalayjian and welcome to the Bull, the Bear, and the Ugly. Well, today it was early action, big sell divergences, and then the market dropped about 60 points on the S&P off the highs, a little bit more, and then it was phenomenally slow. I must have said ring the bell at least 10 times. It was just watching paint dry, just watching as the S&Ps, the Qs, the NASDAQ futures, most stocks were just staying in very, very tight ranges today. Very, very slow day here. But again, the patterns this morning were all sell divergences, big sell divergences on the underlying ETF, the spiders, the Qs, the diamonds, the Russell, off the highs, and we drifted lower, got some really great patterns. Then around 3 o'clock, 2:30, 3 o'clock, we got the really nice push down. We got an oversold condition on the 15 and 30-minute time frame. S&P's futures rallied from the 54.19 and a half all the way up to probably about 44 range. So a nice little move there off the 30-minute time frame. Again, all three time frames were are in buy mode here. The 15, the 30, and the 60-minute time frames on the Dow, the diamonds, the IWMs, the spiders, and the Qs. Stock Netflix, great trading stock today. Beautiful pattern, 1 15-minute long into the positive MACD, rising ADX. I'll show you, ran about 11. The next pullback with the negative MACD, rallied not as much, and then got kabooshed at the end of the day. And I'll show you the pattern on Netflix. If you can master the divergences, you've mastered the art of trading. And this is exactly what every one of my strategies is based upon, all divergence patterns. You can have a trend up and or down and have a buy and a sell divergence. Remember my 5 conditions: a trend, a buy reversal, a sell reversal, a correlation, and a disconnect. And you can have divergence patterns, a buy and a sell, as all my strategies are based purely on divergence patterns. All right. With that being said, it really was a very, very slow day. After we got the push down, I would say probably right around from 11 o'clock onward, after we got the push up and we just started drifting lower. But again, even when we dropped, there were good buy divergences off of the 60, 30, and 60-minute time frame. So again, the market seemed to hold, rally. Even where we close now down about 16 on the S&P, up 14 on the NASDAQ, we're nowhere near looking like we're going to reverse to sell. And I'll show you what I expect for tomorrow in the second part of the podcast. But again, some really great shorts. So let me go right to it here. And I'm going to show you Netflix. I'm going to show you MSTR. I mean, there was Avago, great shorts in Avago. Meta, phenomenal patterns in Meta. What else here? Microsoft. I'm going to show you a really great strategy in Microsoft that really, these patterns really repeat themselves. So let me just get right to it here. Okay, so coming into the day, I already knew that the 30-minute MACDs were negative. The 15s were negative. So right around 10 o'clock, 10:15, we're pushing up to new highs. You can see right here, 10 o'clock in the morning, we're trading 542.95 on the spiders. Here, made a new high, 543.23. And you can see the drop of about 40 points on the S&P right here. Actually, 50 points here on the S&P. Again, pushing up, making new highs, non-confirmation. You can see if I draw my horizontal line, and I'm pretty accurate with this, you can see that right there. You can see here that the price action, you made the new high. So the theme for today was the negative MACDs, really creating a monster type of wall here for the market, a monster wall. Every time we were making new highs this morning, I actually said, I'd let them have them. Let them have them. Now, when we got that push up there, okay, this time I used the underlying ETF, the spiders, and I looked at Avago, I looked at Nvidia, I looked at a lot of stocks, Meta. You can see these divergences really, really kicked in. So the S&P 500 underlying ETF really just told you that there was a ceiling right there, okay? That any new high was going to run into a non-confirmation sell divergence in a positive trend, okay? All right, so that was a really great pattern right there. But you never would have caught that pattern if you were looking at the continuous contract, the S&P futures. You didn't have that. Completely different pattern on the underlying. Yesterday, we caught the short on the highs with the S&P futures on the 30 and the 60-minute time frame. Today, we caught the short with the underlying ETF. So again, this is why I leave all my screens up dynamically. Don't worry about my electric bill. It's already covered in the rent. Okay, but the most important thing is I leave everything up because I disseminate so much information to various different hedge funds, prop firms, family offices, and of course, to my community of traders all around. So again, very, very important to be able to master the art of divergences. Today's theme was those negative MACDs. And of course, after 12 o'clock, it was just like watching paint dry. All right, it really was, except for Palantir. Well, Meta and Microsoft had some really great patterns. Apple really was dead today. Nvidia, there was a couple good ones, and I'll show you all these patterns. So let me go over right now, and I'm going to show you Netflix, okay? So looking at Netflix here, let me just show you. We had the big push up in Netflix. They came out and they said they're worth a gazillion dollars here. You see this pattern right here? This is an absolute Picasso, all right? An absolute Picasso. Pushed up. We actually caught the short here at one point. Yeah, and then it pushed down. Now look at this pattern right here, below 78, 978. Oversold into the positive MACD. On the 15. Oversold into the rising ADX, oversold into the big buying pressure. The yellow dots, price action within the algorithm, nowhere near looking like it's going to reverse to sell. Again, looking at my global crosshairs, here's the oversold condition. Here's the positive MACD. Here's the rising ADX. Here's the big buying pressure, right? Oversold. Monster long. Netflix, look at this pattern right here. 1, 2, 3, 4 bars. Look at this. Ran 14 points. Now, we got a second pullback on the 15-minute time frame. But what's the difference between this pattern and this pattern? Well, the MACDs are negative. So even if you bought it here, again below 78, there was no way in hell with this negative MACD. The odds are probably like 90% you were not going to make a new high. So when you put on a trade, the first thing you got to say is it going to make a new high or a lower high if you're long. If you're short, it's going to make a new low or is it going to make a higher low? Okay? In this pattern, I knew you were going to make a new high, and you did. In this pattern, I knew you were going to make a lower high right here. Oversold, you could have bought it here. Okay, MACD's negative above the pivot, yellow, blue over yellow. And even though you got a nice little maybe $6, $7, $8 run here, you can see the difference between the first pullback on the 15 and then the second pullback on the 15. Okay, Avago, AVGO. Here's a 30-minute time frame. Okay. And I'm going to bring up the 60-minute time frame really quick. Avago this morning pushed up to new highs right here at 10:30. I said, let them have them, right? I said I'd be short Avago. We were shorting Avago above 180, 182. It pushed up again. Didn't get close. Why? Avago is making new highs. These MACDs negative above the pivot. Ran into a brick wall in Avago. Absolute Picasso. And then when the 15-minute time frame, again, this is the push up here and got another push up here. And then one more towards the end of the day on the 15. You can see every push up was going to run into a brick wall on an overbought condition in Avago on the 15-minute time frame. When you have MACDs negative above the pivot like this is really very, very negative here. Okay? So basically, you're in a positive trend, but with a big sell divergence. Okay? Big sell divergence. I'm going to show you the spiders at the end of the day on the long. So we waited all day. This is the push up to get the short, right? Like I said, ding, 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 right here, 10:30. And then at the end of the day, right here, when the spiders and the S&P futures were making new lows, we got a really deep oversold condition here on the 30-minute time frame. You can see the yellow dots. Right here, you can see the low, 536.81. Look at the low here where the algorithm reverses, 329.52. So you were 70 points, $7 on these spiders, which is 70 handles on the S&P, which would have had to bring the S&Ps down to the 53.40 level, for maybe 45 level, in order to get a reversal on the 30-minute time frame. Even lower on the spiders here on the 60-minute. Okay, let me show you Microsoft. This is a really great pattern. I want you to please pay attention to this. I look at my charts left to right, top to bottom. You can see Microsoft negative, blue over yellow on the 60 and 30-minute time frames. Now watch this. When Microsoft reversed the sell on the 15, right here, we were already negative on the 15 coming in. Here's the push up in Microsoft on the opening. We were shorting Microsoft again, making new highs, the same pattern as I showed you in Avago, right? Look at Microsoft. When Microsoft reversed the sell, right here, and you can see the 5-minute time frame reversing to sell. Because the MACDs are negative above the pivot on the 30 and the 60-minute time frame, and the 15 is negative, you have a sell reversal on the 15, and you have what's called a buy disconnect. That means 2 of the 3 time frames are bullish, the 30 and the 60. But it doesn't mean you can't get short patterns. And every bounce in Microsoft on the 5-minute time frame was a short. Negative MACDs on the 15, negative MACDs on the 30, negative MACDs on the 60. So these are sell divergences in a buy disconnect all the way. Look at this. Every bounce on the 5-minute was a short in Microsoft. All right. Look at Meta, META. Got absolutely cabooshed today. Meta negative on the 15, orange over blue. Meta is negative on the 30-minute as well. You can see here, right? You can see the yellow dots into the blue. That means there's big selling. Look at Meta on the 60-minute time frame. Negative. So what happens? Meta, here's a set strategy. Okay? Meta reverses to sell on the 5-minute time frame. You can see the cursor, the global crosshairs. It lines up with the 15, the 30, and the 60-minute time frame. Every bounce on the 5-minute time frame in Meta, ADXs are rising. Look at this. 1. Eventually, look at this. 2 on the overbought. 3. 4. Okay? Here's 5. Now the ADX is rising. All right? And you can see on that short, Meta made a new low here. All right? 17.5 from the 22.5, drop 5. 3. Okay? And then 4. Actually, there's more than that. Sorry. Let me go back. Here's 1. Here's 2. Here's 3. Here's 4 on the overbought. Here's 5. Here's 6. And potentially 7. Okay? 7. Normally we get 4 to 6. Okay? Normally we get 4 to 6. But this pattern was the 5-minute time frame reversing to sell, correlating with the 15 to 30 and the 60. You look to short every overbought condition on indicator 3 for shorts. Microsoft, on the other hand, on the prior example, the MACDs were negative above the pivot on the 15, 30, and 60, the algorithm indicator 4 was bullish on the 30 and 60. So you have a buy disconnect. 2 out of the 3 are bullish. You have a sell reversal, which means the 15 is in sell mode, right? 1's negative, 2 positive. But you can see how the shorts, because the negative MACDs, the shorts on the 5-minute time frames on the overbought conditions were great shorts. I think there were 3 great shorts in Microsoft. All right. All right. We had some really great MSTR was a great long off the 30-minute time frame. But you see here on MSTR this morning, if you look at MSTR when it was trading above the 19 level this morning, let me bring up the 30-minute. When MSTR was pushing up to new highs here, again, non-confirmation. I could draw my, look at that. If I draw my line here, you can see that the MACDs are non-confirmed. 119.75, and look at this thing get kabooshed over $9. These patterns repeat themselves. So today's motto for the title of the show, okay, is how the negative MACDs really halted the advances on the market on various different stocks like Avago, MSTR, Spiders, Qs, Diamonds, Russell. Okay, when you look, not the Russell, I apologize, but the other ones, the Diamonds, the Qs, the Spiders, MSTR, Avago, Nvidia making new highs. This 30-minute, the 60 and 30-minute time frames non-confirmation. When Nvidia was trading above the 13.5, I'll show you. Look at the 60-minute time frames here in Nvidia. NVDA, you can see here, here's the 60, pushing up. Right here, here's the high for the day, 113.62. That MACD never made a new high. So what I'm showing you here is something that if you learn these divergences, I really firmly believe this is going to change your life. All right. So there was so many great patterns here. And again, learning how to trade the patterns correctly is what I teach everybody in the live stream each and every day. My goal is to empower you to be great traders, for all of you to be able to take this, to be able to change your life. You have me as a mentor. You have technology here. I'm showing you how these patterns repeat themselves. And all I want for all of you to be is truly successful. All right. When I get back, I'll tell you what I'm looking for tomorrow. All right. So tomorrow at 8:30, we have retail sales. But, again, not such a big thing, but it could have some volatility here. Just to give you an example, the Spiders, the 30-minute time frame reverses the sell at 529.53. They close at 537.71. So you're about 7-8 points that's 80 points on the S&P. The S&Ps would have to trade below the 53.45. Right now they're trading 54.25. So an 80-point drop just to get the 30-minute time frame to reverse the sell. The 60-minute, 525.08, that's $12. That means the S&P futures, just to get a big sell reversal on the 60-minute, would have to drop 120 points, bringing it down probably to 53.05 on the S&P futures. I don't see that tomorrow, okay? I do not see that. We have a short week, Friday, Good Friday, we're off. I don't see it. I think we're going to be in a very tight range here going forward, between the 48.50, 4,900 to 5,600 range. Remember, the weekly is still negative on the bigger time frame on the Spiders, the Qs, right? So again, the big number is the 535 number on the monthly, and we'll see this number right here. And if this number gets taken out by April 30th, well, I have to say good night, Irene. Right here, you can see 535. We were touching it. The only thing that's saving the market right now is you can see this 535.96. If we close below that on the close of April 30th, well, this whole uptrend starting from May of 2023 has been violated. The only thing that will save it is this deep oversold condition. But again, it would take a monthly does not go negative and then positive. The MACD negative on the monthly is a problem. Okay, as I'll show you to you here, the monthly is negative right here. On MACD is negative, but you have getting the oversold condition. The last oversold condition, look at this, was back in 2023 in October. So what I'm expecting is for the bigger time frame, we need to see if this 535 number holds between now and the end of April on April 30th. But tomorrow, I still see a lot of underlying. The 60-minute time frames are turning up here. That means but here's the problem. The MACDs are negative on the 30 and the 60-minute time on the 30 and 60-minute time frame. So any overbought conditions we get tomorrow on the 30 and 60, I say 11 have them. All right. When I get back, I want to tell you what I think is really super important once you hit your goal each and every day. When you hit your goal every single day, the most important thing is to do what? Watch, listen, learn. I tell this all day long. Someone hit the goal today of $1,062. And what they say in the text? Watch, listen, learn. Exactly. When you hit your goal, it's important to stay focused, to be able to be on your toes, to be able to ask questions, learn during the live stream. My member Discord, so excited. So many people from all around the world joining, and the questions come at me. But again, I get so pumped up when people are hitting their goals and they're being disciplined and they're asking questions and they're part of the community. It is just really, really, truly an amazing feeling. And I'm so blessed at this stage of my life to be able to empower you, to be able to learn from you after of my 41 plus years of experience. So with that being said, watch, listen, and learn is the motto when you hit your goals in your trading, whether you're trading anything, ETF stocks, commodity futures, index futures, Bitcoin, forex, it doesn't make a difference. All right. Options, it doesn't make a difference. Learn each and every day, right? Hit your goals. And the most important thing is to be proactive and to be able to really take this every step higher every single day and get better and be great at this, okay? Because my legacy depends on your success. All right, with that being said, thank you for joining me tonight on The Bull, the Bear, and the Ugly. Very excited to be here. Again, please subscribe, leave a comment. Also, join my trading community at sktrading.live and follow me on social media. I do not DM, so please don't think it's me. All right. I do not DM. Please follow me at official Steve Kalayjian on X, at Stephen Kalayjian on Instagram and on TikTok. Again, if anybody has any questions, you can text me at 914-500-7484. It's my personal cell phone number. I do not DM, so please, most important, God bless you. Have a great night. All right. And again, God bless the United States of America. See you all, everybody.
Thanks for tuning in to the Bull, the Bear, and the Ugly podcast, your no-nonsense guide to the markets. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe at sktrading.live or on your favorite podcast platform. We'd love for you to rate, review, and join our community for more real talk and market insights. Until next time, keep trading and stay sharp.